Hello and welcome to the Daily Bible Podcast. My name is William Hemsworth. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. Well, this is it, guys. Thank you for joining me. And today we finish off what is known as the Lord's Prayer. So when I say this is it, today we're finishing off the Lord's Prayer. It didn't mean to imply that this may have been the end of the show or anything, so my apologies. But today we're going to look at Matthew chapter 6, verse 13. And Matthew chapter 6 verse 13 says, "And do not bring us to the time of trial, but rescue us from the evil one." You may have memorized it in the Old Douay Rheims or King James Version. It says, "Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil." The translation I read from on a daily basis is the New Revised Standard Version. And I really like the way it puts verse 13. I think it's a more accurate rendering of the Greek. That's just my personal opinion. Lead us not into temptation gives the implication that God tempts us on occasion. And that's not what Jesus is saying here. When we say in the popular translation, lead us not into temptation, we're saying, give us the strength to overcome temptation. Give us that strength to not do evil. Be with us, guide us, transform us. Help us not to succumb to the evil one. Rescue us from what the evil one is trying to do to us, what harm he's trying to do to us, tempting us, thinking bad thoughts, etc. Lead us away from that. That's what Jesus is saying here. That's what Jesus is saying here. Do not bring us to the time of trial. So, rescue us from Satan. Rescue us from the evil one. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to be tested. That doesn't mean we're not going to be tested. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have temptations. Remember, Satan is trying to mess us up. As 1 Peter says, he prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. But as the book of James says, God never tempts us. He doesn't want us to sin. He wants us to stay on that narrow path. But praise God that he is so merciful as he is, because he knows that we will mess up. And that forgiveness and that grace and that mercy is always free. So, today, say the same prayer that Jesus taught us. Lead us not into temptation, but with that understanding that God is not leading us to temptation. But by saying that, we're asking him to give us the strength to overcome that temptation. And to lead us away as a good shepherd, away from the evil one. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of the Daily Bible Podcast. I truly appreciate you tuning in every day. If there's anything you need, please let me know. hopewithin18@gmail.com is my email address, so any questions, any prayer requests, please go ahead and send them there. Other than that, if you enjoy the show, please rate it and please share it. And thank you so much for joining me. God bless you.